Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is one of those cases where all you need to know you can learn from Cobra Kai. In this, it is a good show, but in this instance, it's show no weakness. Now, I'm being a little tongue in cheek, obviously, but one of the things that I notice with I don't know a certain degree of regularity within comics is that people will post things publicly on their Facebook page or on their Twitter wall, or whatever you call the Twitter stuff, bag of crap, well, in their Twitter bag of crap. They will post things like, I'm starting to think I don't belong in comics anymore, or I'm starting to think there's no place for me in comics, or I was rejected for another pitch and I'm really low and I don't think I can make it. Don't write that. Now, this is like the tough love, the dad advice. I'm comics dad, right? Is that what I've become? It doesn't help anything. Yes, absolutely. You may have some insecurities, and comics are filled with insecurities. Absolutely. Any kind of artistic field tends to be. In music, same. Entertainment, same. There's a lot of insecurities. There's a lot of people in Hollywood who have therapists because they have imposter syndrome or any of those things. Happens all the time. However, one thing that a good therapist will tell you, or really a good parent or anyone, is you want to expose that weakness. You want to expose that self doubt or get that affirmation from friends or family members or people who are not strangers on the internet. And this seems like it should be really, really good advice, but I do not know if it's just kind of the allure of Twitter, or if it's a generational thing where people want to kind of hang out their dirty laundry everywhere they go, or, and I always suspect, and this is more than anything why you shouldn't do it. I suspect it's a desperate cry for attention, not a cry for help. Meaning the people who are writing stuff like that are hoping for a lot of likes, a lot of comments like, hey, buddy, no, you're great. You are great. They're fishing for support. Not all of them, but some of them. And the problem is, a lot of people see it that way. I can tell you, and I wanted to do this video just on my own, because I don't want to put others on the spot by doing it with them, but I can tell you the amount of times I hear from somebody saying, look at this dumb shit over here. And the comment is almost always, they should leave. If they're whining like this, they should leave. They should get like, oh my God, when is this again? Especially for people who seem to do this every few weeks. And there are people who do it every few weeks. And predictably, they get a lot of responses. Although, and again, this is why you shouldn't do it. I mean, if self-respect is not enough of a reason, a big reason you shouldn't do it is that you will get less and less engagement each time. People are going to, eventually grow tired of telling you, no, you're good. Come on, man, cheer up, chin up, you'll be okay. Everybody starts to view it as just very pathetic. And then you do become what you're saying. You do become the, this pariah. If you are concerned about this, and everybody goes through self-doubt, everyone has depression, everyone has questions about whether they belong or did they fake into something. I mean, yeah, sure. I think, very, very rare people do not have those feelings. But get that affirmation, get that support, get that stuff in private. Get it from people you trust. Do not get it out on the open internet. The amount of people who are copying and taking your note, your post on Facebook, whatever it happens to be, and sending around to people laughing at your expense. I mean, I apologize if this is tough for a couple of you here, but you're being laughed at. And that's not what you want. In many cases, look, we all have had, like I said, everybody's had moments of self-doubt. But in comics in particular, and comics is much easier than the entertainment industry, than music. You can always make film and you can always make music, no matter where you go. But with comics, you can actually take something, get published, put it out into the world, and go for it. And it's not that hard to do. It's a pretty small bar. You have to make sure that what your value, your sense of, hey, I'm doing a great job, is based on your work. is based on the stuff you're doing, is based on metrics other than a small little weird group of friends, or quote friends, who are going to tell you whether you're good or not. I think Joe's mentioned this before. The amount of people who are like they live for Donnie Cates to tell them they're doing a good job. Donnie Cates, nice guy. That is not Donnie. The Donnie Cates seal of approval is not you being successful. That makes no sense. That's not a metric you need to obtain. So fishing for stuff, fishing for am I worth it? Again, it does look like you're fishing. And it always, eye rolling is happening on the other end of the screen. And it does take, I mean, the problem is I'm sure there's a few of you out there who have done this, and you mean it, you're not fishing. Your heartfelt are having this moment of crisis, and you're reaching out to anyone. But don't. Reach out to friends. By the way, if you're listening to this going, oh my God, I've written a note to Perch and asked about it. No, you're doing the right thing. You're reaching out in private. You're reaching out to friends. You're reaching out to, in theory, people you trust. Do make sure there are people you can trust. I'm talking strictly about this public performance of, am I worth anything? Because there's no possibility it goes well. There's no possibility you're actually getting an honest response. It's fishing. It's pure fishing, and not positive. It's not brave. It's not being more honest. This is private business between you. Hearing, it's not contributing anything healthy, and it's not going to make you feel better. And so, again, the advice here, number one, you're in comics. You can make it happen on your own. If your goal is based on some other intangible things outside of your control, like the only way you're going to be successful is if you write 100 issues of Avengers, then your goal is a bad one. It's one that's going to be very hard to obtain. It can be a dream, but that shouldn't be what your self-worth is wrapped up in. You can get a comic put out very easily. And sometimes, even if you've done bigger work and have had to take a step back and you're doing smaller work now, keep doing the smaller work. The antidote to these feelings and what you're doing is published material. That is it. And then number two, get a group of people around you can trust. You shouldn't be having to rely on just random posts out to the wide internet. That's not a support system. Those aren't friends. Those are just random people. It's important that you have a group of people you can bounce ideas off of. I've talked to several people in interviews, and one thing, I don't know if anybody has said it directly, but a lot of people say it indirectly. There is a mentor, there is help, there is somebody, there's somebody they bounced an idea off of, there's somebody that gave them good advice across the board, from Jim Salicrup to Carl Potts to, Kari Andrews to everyone. Notice in their interviews, there is some group, there's somebody that they're leaning on to get good information. And you do need that. And don't mistake random follows on Facebook or Twitter as that group. That's not going to help you out in the same way that having a group of dedicated people will. Again, it's whether you intend it or not, it comes across as performative, and the advice and the suggestions you get, not helpful. And the reason I made this video, again, is I'm seeing more and more and more people in comics do this. And in particular, a lot of the people who do this are people who get beat up, who are, I don't know what the right word. There are people who are made fun of at times on videos, not by me, but they're people who get made fun of. And here's the thing: when you post that stuff, it's like you're pasting a giant "Please kick me" sign on your chest or your back, I guess. Don't do it to yourself. You're only going to make matters worse. Get comics out the door. Get out there, publish that book, even if it's tiny, even if you sell 25 copies of it. You have another printed thing with your name on it, and that is the antidote to any feeling of insecurity that you might have. Anyway, that's my advice. It's tough. It's tough coming across these things over and over and seeing them like, ugh, it's a cringe. It's it's absolutely cringy, and it's doesn't it's not giving you what you need. I promise. Anyway, thanks for listening.